Sorry, you guys, I am mute. Thanks, you guys, for being here. I really appreciate you showing up. Once again, I am live. I'm trying to start something new. I am going to go live on Mondays at 6. Tuesday, I'm going to go live at 6. And Wednesday, I'm going to go live at 6. So please stay tuned for everything I have in store. Also, my Fridays, y'all know that's my late lives. I go last live on Friday. I was on there for like 4.5 hours. So Fridays will be my late lives. So we're gonna keep that for the late ones. It's a Friday night, so we got time. But yes, thanks for being here. What's up, Michelle? Good evening. Hey, what's up? Hey, Stefan, thanks for being here. So yes, you guys, today is about divorce and dating. How many of you guys are divorced at this moment and you are looking for a second chance at love? That's what it is about today. It is kind of a touchy topic though, because divorce is never easy. Let's be real. Even though, you could think that the person is not the one, but divorce is not easy. I don't care how you want to spin it. Especially when you got kids involved, right? Don't do it. It's so hard, we try to do the right thing, but some people don't know how to do the right thing with you. So it's like, what to do, So we're going to bring a special guest. He goes by the name of the Actual King Smith. And I want you guys to subscribe to his YouTube channel. And if any of the moderators can please do that, put his link in the chat. But I'm about to bring him up right now. What's up, man?
What's up, Lady Di? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. How's it going?
Hey, I'm glad to be here. I'm pretty sure you saw me backstage trying to smash some tacos right before we went live. But, I got my belly filled good. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me on your channel tonight.
Of course. I had to, because I understand that you're divorced, right? And you're out there dating or whatnot, right?
Yep. Both are true. I was married for around 14 years, divorced back in, 2018, 2019. It seems like such a long time ago. And I was out here on the dating market for a while, took myself off of the dating market. And I'm currently in a relationship with somebody that we came across each other while not really looking for each other, so to speak.
Wow. So it's kind of like a coincidence. You think, it was put together. You guys didn't force it. It was natural. That's what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now you said you was married for how long?
About 14 years.
Wow. So who was about to compete with the 14 years? God dang. So yeah. Let's back it up though, because we just went to the end. So what age did you get married?
I got married at 20, similar to one half of your family. I was in the service, and the lady that I was married to, I had known each other since middle school, since 6th grade. Had the same friends, very similar circles and everything. So, and then shortly after we graduated high school, she went to college. I joined the Air Force, and we stayed in touch. We dated a little bit throughout high school, but stayed in touch after we both graduated high school. My first duty station wasn't too far from my hometown. So, I got back home from time to time and would see certain people. And she was one of the people that I'd see.
Wow. Okay. So I'm going to play a clip. I want to see if the one that you was married to, does she remind you of the person in this video? So let's see.
Ooh, all right.
Let's see.
And I know that you're wearing sunglasses, which usually is not permitted in a courtroom, but I understand that you have an eye issue, glaucoma, and the lights are bothering you. Mr. Lucas, I'm going to start with you. Why don't you tell me how we got here and why it is you've needed to come to court to get this car back?
Well, Your Honor, there was nothing wrong. Nothing. Everything was normal at my house.
Everything was normal?
Nothing wrong. Nothing. But she just told me, baby, I'll be back. And she left, you know, this was back in November.
Mrs. Lucas, Mr. Lucas says you had a great relationship.
Yes, we had a wonderful relationship.
Why don't you tell me what was wonderful about it?
It was wonderful. We were like best friends. I believe, you know, he's my soulmate. Everything was fine except he was too nice. It's too nice. I mean,
How does one be too nice to one's wife?
he was too nice, like it was scary nice. You know, it was like, you know the people that's it was like stalkerish nice, like you too nice, it's too
Give
good
me an
to
example,
be true.
because I cannot conceive of the world that you have structured for me here.
Right, I mean, you know, too nice, like he would say, I love you, and it was like, I was like, okay, I was waiting for the punch, when you gonna kick me? It's scary. Some people just, you know, you could be nice, but
Mrs.
you could be
Lucas,
too nice.
you're gonna have to do better than that. He told you he loved you, and this was a problem. You put up your hands like, when is the punch gonna come? You've been married for 5 years. Has he punched you yet?
No, he's a
He
wonderful
doesn't
man.
punch you. He's a wonderful man.
Yes, I'm just not
so
used to
the
that.
I love you is too much for you.
It's not.
So, all right, you see what's going on there. She's saying that the man is too nice, and I guess that's too boring. So she's like, let me divorce this man. Now,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, so I have to tell you, I think that everybody else could hear fine. I heard maybe 10% of what was said. So I don't know if that was something on my end or what, but I couldn't quite-
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
So
let me
yep.
see.
So you might have to give me a breakdown.
Okay, let me see. I think people did hear it because I see interesting. Wow. All right. So what happened was they were in court, and the woman was trying to explain why she got a divorce, and she said because he was too nice. That's it.
What?
That's it. Too nice, and it was so nice. Exactly. Too nice that it was she felt that it was just overwhelming, like it didn't make any sense for her, and she divorced him for that.
Oh man.
Did you have a situation like that? You were too nice and she wanted to divorce you? Was that your situation?
No, that was definitely not my situation. You know, for me, I thought I was the good guy, right? Like I thought I was the dude that was doing everything that I needed to do to provide and support. Somewhere along the way, my ex-wife and I, we didn't see eye to eye, and we were going in circles trying to get back to center when I think that, you know, she'd be good. I might not necessarily had been on center and vice versa. We didn't divorce on bad terms. Thank goodness. I've heard of some very, very horrible divorces.
Yes.
Lots of men out there, but we didn't have that. We didn't have any lawyers, any mediators. We just sat down, figured out what worked for us, and fired ourselves, saved a crap ton of money doing it that way. But I do think, though, kind of taking a look back at myself, I had some nice guy tendencies, and I think really in the end, some people don't value what a good person is. Now, I'm not saying that my ex-wife did that, but I've heard stories similar to that clip that you showed, that, you know, their spouse thinks that their husband is boring. You know,
yeah.
But yeah.
So you're saying you were nice, and are you saying that you let her get away with thinking that she could divorce you in that way? Like you should have put your foot down and be like, hey, you know, this is not what we need to do. We need to stick together as a family. Were you basically giving her your opinions on divorce? Like, did she understand that divorce was a no for you?
Not early on, but then too, I'm somebody that tries to see what the other person is going through as well. And I was trying to see on her end, and this is something that I don't recommend, what you think the person is going to say about something. I also felt like if I tried to put my 2 cents down, she was going to be ready to come back. Well, you ain't doing this, you know, when that's in my head, I'm like, one thing at a time. I didn't want the marriage to end. I'll say that. I did not want the marriage to end. Yet I was going through some stuff at the time that I didn't realize I was depressed and didn't know it. and there wasn't anything that she could have done that could have helped it. I needed to course correct that stuff on my own. So when you get a history of doing that stuff, I think that your significant other can get to a point to where they're fed up, and in my opinion, there's a point that you can
Yeah.
get to where there's a point of no return.
Yeah, unfortunately, I like to bring up mental health in my spectrum a lot because a lot of individuals don't like to talk about it. But unfortunately, that's just the reality of what goes on in everyone's lives. Everyone suffers in depression, one in different forms. But the fact that the other person doesn't understand, or they're thinking that you're doing something, but you're really not. You're just suffering in a different way, and they don't know how to help. So they're like, okay, well, these are the excuses. I think he's a bad person, or we're growing apart. You always hear that. I'm not happy. Meanwhile, there are things that could have been done to prevent. And the issue is people don't understand their vows. If you understand your vows, you understand it's through sickness and health. So in the severe term, we'll say mental health is a sickness, right? Because if you're not all the way happy, then it will be considered that. It doesn't have to be as severe as a sickness. Like, there's worse things, right? But it is in the lines of that. And we all as people need to make sure that we read up on that and know signs, know symptoms, because things like that you could tell right on. Like for me, for example, I just used when I had a baby. I went through like an anxiety attack type of situation where I was just doing a whole bunch of stuff, and my husband was like, "Wait, that's not her norm." Right. So he paid attention to my norm. So let's say with your ex-wife, was she really paying attention to how you were moving? Because there's signs that's right there. Or do people just avoid it? They're like, no, I'm going to use this excuse because I want to get out anyway. But then again, it's like, why would you want to leave? 14 years is long. So who filed for divorce?
She filed. I could tell that there was a point that she was checked out and that she was done. So, but I was too scared to bring it up. And that's another point that now that I'm a little bit stronger in my thoughts, I tell men, specifically men, hey, you've got to be the ones to kind of lead what's going on. I sat back and I was passive when I could tell that there was a certain point that she had checked out. And we had done marriage counseling and things like that. At some points, I thought that it was good. At other points, when I could see, I thought on my end I was doing the things that was suggested during counseling, but I didn't necessarily see it from her, so to speak. That would kind of make me go, well, what's the point of us doing this, counseling thing? And I had some moments where I wasn't doing the things, that we had talked about in counseling as well. But that was, like I said, it was just this circular thing of, maybe when I was getting back right, she wasn't. And then I would try to, be like, okay, well, I'm good, but she wasn't necessarily there. And then when she would get there, I wouldn't be. And we just kept going round and round until she finally said, I'm done. I want a divorce.
So that's like basically you guys needed each other. And when one was available, one didn't recognize. When the other one was available, the other one didn't recognize. And y'all just kept going like this instead of like, okay, this is what we need to work on. Or I see that he's struggling in this. Let me use what was said in counseling. Let me use what I think also, because there's things that we could think of on our own, because the only person that knows each other more are the people that are in the relationship. Counselors do have a way of helping, but that's not like the all answer. You guys have to work on it on your own. But let me get into this chat really fast. I'm sorry, you guys. Let me see. Who did I miss? What's up, Big? How are you? Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. Okay, let me see. Everyone is responding to that video. Yeah, it was sad to hear that. What's up, Balancing Codes? What's up? You guys subscribe to her channel. If you could drop her link. Yeah, let's see. Michelle says she kept thinking that he was going to hurt her. Oh, hello. What's up? New 7, loving this conversation. Thank you. Let me see how I say this. WT Funk.
That is what the funk is this. That's the homie.
Salute. Okay, what the funk is this? Hey, I like that. What up? Thanks for subscribing. Okay, so he or she?
He.
He says, do you think being in a marriage leads to depression and couples need to prepare for it on both sides?
He.
So I'm gonna answer this. Well, you answer it first because you were in that situation.
Okay, yeah, he'll ask some very interesting questions. I think that being in a marriage can lead to depression if one of y'all can't get out of your funk. Like, folks will have seasons of change, so to speak. I think it's up to that individual person to get right. Now, if I'm trying to be a husband and doing work and taking care of everything else, and then I'm that guy that comes back and sits in the driveway because I know once I get in, my significant other is gonna be in my ears about everything and nagging instead of showing some support and vice versa. Yeah, I don't know how long a person can keep up doing that. I think over time, as you're having to be around somebody else long term, you have to have that constant communication, or it can lead to depression. Absolutely.
Yeah, I could see that. I hear many people, I'm gonna sit in my car for an hour, 2 hours. Meanwhile, the other person's in the house waiting, where you at? And it's kind of sad. We laugh, but it's so sad. But so this is the thing. So as I always tell my clients before they get into a marriage, I try to prepare them to make sure that they have an underlining, healthy, understanding communication. When I say understanding, that means everyone is different. The way how I communicate with you and the way how I'll communicate, let's say, with another person, it may be a little bit different based off of how we both are. So when you're in a relationship, you guys have to understand each other.
Mhm.
You two both are different. So having an understanding communication, making sure you guys are crossing words that you guys understand, because we all come from different paths of life. So, for example, I'm from the north, my husband's from the south. I say something, he's like, "What? What is that?" Or I might say something a certain way, and he's like, "Wait, hold up now." And I'm like, "What?" I don't see nothing wrong with it. So just understanding your communication with each other is very important. Also, you guys have to learn how to problem solve each other's issues by yourself,
Yes.
because
Yes.
that counselor will be there. But like I said, they don't know you as much as y'all know you, right? So you guys have to learn how to effectively communicate and fix the issues without having an argument. So tones have to be like monotone type. Try not to yell, because as soon as you start yelling, let's say, for example, you're not the yelling type, right? But she is. If she yells for another 5 minutes, you're gonna be like, all right, man, right? You're gonna be pissed. And then for her, let's say she's like, okay, I'm gonna tone my voice down, but you're yelling, but she's not gonna be able to hold it for so long, because after a while, she's just gonna let it go, right? So it's important to have that same tone across the entire conversation. So now you guys could hear each other, right? But then, okay, you're hearing each other, but do you understand each other? Because that's the issue. A lot of us, men and women, don't understand each other because we're both just too different.
Yes, yes. And I mean, everything that you just said, I'm thinking back to those times, and tone was a word that I would say often. And as you get older, in my opinion, I think you understand communications better. At least you should anyway.
Yeah.
And oh man, it'd be so many times where I just say, hey, I would tune you out because you're real emotional with what you're saying, and I don't receive that kind of stuff well. Like for
Yeah.
me, it was better received if the tone was a little bit different. And you have no many times that arguments were started, and I would just tune out because I'm like, look, I'm not gonna sit here with you talking to me this way. When you can calm down, come back and let me know. But if I were to say, hey, calm down, that's like lighting a fuse. Then you're still not really even talking about or discussing the thing that you're trying to work on. So I think understanding each other's communication style is key, and finding a way to be able to deliver that message so that the other person can receive it is important. But you have to know yourself to be able
Right.
to do that.
Right. And that's the thing, though. The only thing is, people like that love language situation. I don't promote the love language thing because love language has changed. you can have a love language. You know, they have the love language of affection and all these things, but you know, as you get older, it might not be the same. So why stick on something like that? I just think, you know, make sure you guys, because that's how you get stuck, right? They say we grew apart because you guys never grew together. You get what I'm saying? If you're growing together, you won't be so focused on a love language, which is one thing. You will be focused on, okay, these first 5 years, this is what we like to do. This is what I like. This is what he liked. The next 5 years might be different. You know what I'm saying? So why focus on something and be stuck on that and then be like, oh, we didn't grow together? No, you're not going to grow together being on one thing. You got to know how to elevate. You got to know how to accept change is what I'm trying to say. So I say, understand how you guys love to do things, or if you like to do things together, or you understand that she needs more space, and then she understands that you need more space. Give each other that space. Don't force stuff. You know, I'm all about, you know, not forcing it. Make sure it's natural. But I had a question. So when you said she checked out, do you know why she checked out?
If I were to put words in her mouth, I would say that she checked out because I wasn't giving her what she needed.
Okay. And did you ask her what that was?
Yes. So I'll talk about it because I've talked about it in various other formats before. We got to a point to where the sex in the relationship slowed down, and it slowed down a lot. And the issue didn't come on her end, which is what you would hear people talk about. It actually came from me. I was diagnosed with a cardiac condition in my late 20s, or kind of my mid 20s, and the meds and stuff that I was taking caused me to not be able to perform when times were needed, and I didn't know that. So what started things kind of came from there, because I was too embarrassed to really understand and say something, and she was thinking that it was her, and I'm telling her, look, it's not you. Like, I'm feeling you. I think that you're, you know, attractive, sexy, and everything, but when the body's not doing what it needs to do, I can imagine that might be hard to, you know, overcome when, hey, you're saying one thing, but then your body ain't doing, you know, something else. And then that caused me as a man, right? You know, like, I'm a man hearing this, like, I'm a man feeling like I'm not able to do what it is that I need to do to, you know, please my wife. Arguments and things kind of started from there. Now, eventually it got course corrected. We found out what it was, but at that point, on my end, like, the damage was, you know, it's already done, because I then started to think, wait, like, hold up, you know, like, there were things that, you know, you talked about and stuff, like, I would get upset and mad when I would be thinking, oh, so this is why you started to be upset about this. Like, why, you know, is this through thick or thin thing not applying now, you know? And I started kind of spiraling from there.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is, so like, after you figured out what it was, there was no understanding after that. So let me give you an example, right? When me and my husband, we were in a relationship, there was a time where there was anger issues going on, right? And eventually the anger issues went away on his end. And in that, I learned some things about him on why he was like that, right? I was talking to family, people that were very close to him, and understanding him in a whole. Even though there were arguments, right? For those 3 years, after the 3 years, I understood why he was like that. So I kind of like erased it. It was like, okay, that was just fake, because this was what was happening. He was suffering from something. And I didn't know. So of course I'm gonna be on attack mode, just like, you know, in a different way. That's just, you know, one spectrum of it. But I eliminated all of the past because I understand it was a reason why. Some people have anger issues, or whatever the issue is. Either there's a cause, or sometimes they just like that. Some people are just assholes. You know, I didn't know which one I had. Did I have an asshole, or did I have somebody with some issues? You know what I'm saying? So I realized that someone was going through things, right? So I was like, okay, cool. That's erased. Let's move on. So did you guys have grace for each other?
Ooh, that's an excellent question. Wow.
Because that, that's needed when you go through that type of, let's just call it trauma, right? When you go through that for some time, once you understand or figure out and you fix it, now you got to give grace to move on. Because if you don't, you're going to be stuck in a situation for no reason when there's reasons for it.
That's actually, I think we did, Lady Di, just not at the same time. Like I said, we kept spinning around and couldn't get back to center at a similar time. So I can say for myself that I did extend and give grace to her at a point. But then when it came time to, do the same thing, vice versa, she did as well. But when she did, I was kind of back in that funk, so to speak.
Yeah.
And, when she would give me grace, I didn't receive it or accept it. I can look back and say that now with certainty, but when you're in it, it's hard to diagnose.
It is. Oh my gosh, when you're in it, it's like you don't know what's going on. But it's always good to have that space to just reflect not only on yourself, but then the entire relationship. And I think that before marriage, that's always a good time. You don't have to write things down. Some people write the good and the bad list, but the example of why it's being done. You got the good and you got the bad. Which one outweighs the other? Those type of things are, I feel, important to understand before you get into a marriage. Now, obviously, you're already married. You were married young at 20. So no one is really doing that. But it's never too late to do it in a marriage. But do you think not having the understanding on both parts for that grace is why you guys probably end up divorced?
Yes, absolutely. That would definitely, I think, say was one of the impacts and consequences, going forward, is not being able to have that grace at the same time, because you see what's going on, and depending on how long you want to be miserable, you can either let that go on for a long time, or you get to the point where you say, man, I'm done.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. So, did you ever resolve your depression that you were going through?
I did. I finally, during my annual check-ins, instead of hiding what I was going through, feeling tired and stuff all the time, I just answered honestly the basic questions that they always ask you during your checkups. And my primary care doc was like, hey, so, I think with some of these answers, you might need to go talk to somebody from mental health. And I was resistant to it at first, because I don't want to talk to nobody from mental health. Like, I'm good. Everything that's going on with me is external to me. You know what I'm saying? There's all these other things, but I'm good. But I finally accepted that when it was said, and set up my appointment, and those sessions were definitely helpful and definitely needed.
Awesome. That's amazing. I'm so glad you figured that out. It's always good. We all will go through things, but it's never the end of the world. You could still live a prosperous life regardless of the situation. Just keep at it and, be positive with it, and never look at yourself as less than if you ever do, because that's not the case. We are all human. We are all different. We all have different lives, and let's just live it up to the fullest. But I want to move on from this divorce because you have found a new love. Is that what I'm hearing from earlier? You got a girlfriend?
Yes, I have a girlfriend. It was interesting kind of how we got together, in my opinion. A mutual friend tried to set us up, and look, I don't do setups. Shortly after my divorce, I tried the dating app stuff with some varying success, but I was still out here kind of broke dating, so to speak. And hey, look, guys, don't be out here trying to date if your pockets aren't right. So
Honesty, I like that. Honest man. Okay.
Yep. So after about a year and a half on the dating market, so to speak, I took myself off the dating market completely. I got away from the dating apps, and I started to really focus on myself. And the current person who I'm talking to now, we were set up. And I was like, look, I ain't trying to show up for a game night to be set up with somebody. I don't do that. Like, I'm good right now. I ain't trying to, get in all of that. But I still went to the game night. She showed up as well with the understanding that she was going to meet me. And during the entire date night, I was conversational because that's, how I am. When I saw her, I was attracted to her, based off of looks. But toward the end of the night, when she said she was leaving, I was like, all right, well, it was nice to meet you. And she walked out and left.
Oh, wow. That's funny. Let me get into some of these comments real quick. Someone's Misery Loves Company says, he seems like a good brother. Her loss. Exactly. Your new girl's gain. That's what we're talking about today, 2023. Hard to swallow. Oh, she is good. Damn.
You talking about you, yeah.
Okay. Facts, you need that grace, real talk. Yeah. Well, at least so that's the good thing. When you go through things, you just learn from it and you move on. Make sure you take the things, the positive stuff, and implement it into your new relationship. That's all
the important part.
Yeah. So make sure you keep, understand that and do that next time. Okay. She would be a perfect bartender. That's funny. Back in the day, I used to want to do that just to get some quick money. That's funny. She would get so many drunk tips from the way she breaks down your answers. She is like the Black Barbara Walters. She would make a person cry. I'm weak at that. You're funny. Okay, Missy Loves Coming says, nice military people get high levels of depression. Yes, that happens all the time. All right, so yes. So with your new love, do you know, let's say, the things that you were looking for, or how about this? What were you looking for in a marriage back then? And what are you looking for in a wife, I should say, now? What type of wife qualities do you want right now to seal the deal?
All right. So back then I was looking for somebody who I thought would support me and I could support them, like varying levels of support. So I was enlisted when I asked my ex-wife to marry me, and at the time I was an enlisted aviator. I was gone like 200 and some odd days out of the year away from home, and before I even asked her to marry me, I'm like, hey, look, you have to understand that and be good with that, for this to work. And she said she was, and I believed her. And I asked her to marry me, and her dad married us that same day. I was literally in my flight suit when we got married.
Wow, that's amazing.
So but going forward now, here's the thing, Lady Di, to answer your question specifically, I don't know if I want to get married again. Actually, it's a 90-something% chance that I'm not doing it again.
Oh my gosh.
I am not doing it again. And the person who I'm talking to, we've had this conversation several times. We've talked about it. Her hearing me saying this would not be a surprise. I am afraid of what a state type of marriage would do to me if the second one doesn't work out. And second divorces tend to not work out favorably for the guy. I can't speak for the ladies because I'm not a lady, and my first divorce wasn't bad. So for me to feel like how I feel now, when my first divorce didn't really, put me back too bad, I'm like sitting here taking a look at it like I'm not doing this again. And I told that to the person who was looking at fixing us up even just a date. I'm like, look, I'm not out here looking. Okay. I don't want this person to, fall for your boy. and then, there's not anything that can come from it if they're looking for a wife. I'm sorry, if they're looking for a husband and things like that. I'm like, I don't think I'm doing it again.
So that brings me to my next clip. Now, I know you said you couldn't hear it, but I don't know why you can't hear it for some reason, but I got to play it for the audience and I will tell you what happened.
Okay.
Being a woman that is so ride or die about love.
Who hears her crying about the love? Who hears her crying about having a broken heart? Who hears her crying about her family being destroyed? Let's listen to what she's crying about.
Like he doesn't have to bring nothing to
he doesn't have to pay nothing. What about ride or die for love? This is a fucking circus, man. This is a damn. I can't get enough of this.
Okay, shout out to the lead attorney, which I gotta get him on my show one day to talk about this divorce stuff because that's what he does. But so that video was about Erica Mena. I don't know if you're familiar with the 11 hip hop.
A little bit.
Okay, so Erica Mena, she's crying her eyes out, complaining, talking about why I can't get no money, just crying about stuff that don't matter. She's not crying that her family is broken. She's not crying. That's what he was saying. She's not crying that, her family, her kids and the father not being there. And all these important details are not being talked about while she's on the phone crying her eyes out. So which means that some people do hurt and they release in different ways. But honestly, a good person that hurts and releases would still like to still have their family. And that could determine the type of person that you have as well. So I know you're probably scared of a woman being like, let's say her, and she's just like, I want money. I need my child support and I need alimony and all these crazy things, when it should have never happened. So you're probably fearful of that because in the court system, obviously they cater more to the mother, to the wife. So I understand why you said getting married in the States. So real quick, did you have kids with your ex-wife?
Yes, we have one child that we share together. She's a 15-year-old girl now.
Wow, you have a 15-year-old. That's amazing. So do you do 50-50 or you share or you're working on that?
So we have what I learned in family court, they call standard custody, whereas one person has primary physical custody and have them more during like the weekday, and then the other parent has like on weekends and things like that. So it's like a 70-30 split when you work out the timeshare. But it was something about here it called standard custody that just kind of made me shake my head. Now, we don't live that far from each other. It's not like if it's my time, I can't see my daughter or have access to her or anything like that. But her mom is the primary custody, person for school and things like that. And to me, logically, that kind of makes sense. You want to keep things as
stable for the child,
stable as possible. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's great. Now I understand that you're scared of marriage, but always know there's always hope to have a lovely marriage. I could give you some success stories. You're like, no. You just have to vet really good. I'm gonna have to invite you back on the show so I can talk to you and your new girl, because I do couples therapy for free online. Honestly, if you look at my other videos, I've done it publicly. I've been doing it for a while, but I've just went mainstream. So that's the invitation. If you want,
Hey, look, if she's down for it, I'm down for it. Yeah.
Because what we're trying to do is, so you're the one with the reservation. I don't know what her reservations are. She could be the same. So it's kind of understanding how to build trust. First of all, we got to make sure that you guys are the one for each other. That's the biggest thing. And that comes in many forms. So we could break that down, and then we could break down making sure you guys understand trust, sacrifice. There's so many things to talk about. So I would invite you on the show one day. But so we're going to save that for that show. So you guys that's listening, make sure when you see the actual King Smith on my thumbnail or in my title, in my description, know that we are going to get into it with his new love. But I wanted to ask, so you have a daughter. Is your new girlfriend okay with being a stepmother? Even though she's 15, it doesn't matter. She's going to be in your life forever. So would she be okay being a stepmom if you guys took it to the next level?
So we have talked about that, and the answer to that question is yes. And I'll also add something too. So my kid's mom knows the person who I'm dating, and it was so weird because I didn't necessarily introduce them or anything like that, but something that I guess I have to learn is, ladies, especially when it comes to their kids, like they're going to do their own due diligence and research themselves. For me as a guy, I kind of go, hey, look, you're your own person. Whoever you bring around my kid, I trust you as an adult that you're going to make the right choices on who
Okay.
that is. So I don't do that kind of stuff. I don't vet to see who the person is and if they got a record or anything like that. That's me. But my kid's mom actually, I guess she, met she had met the lady who I'm talking to and got a good sense about her. I'm going to assume that she probably found some stuff, on her online or whatnot. And she came back and told me that, if I were to get remarried, that she basically endorsed the person who I'm dating to be around her kid like that. And I'm like, I don't care, but that's good to know.
That's good. I love that. That means that they are able to, you guys will be able to have a good co-parenting situation. Because after divorce, you already know how much drama it is when it comes to the ex-parent accepting the new parent and trying to do it together for the child. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in the Black community. It's very rare. So to have it already kind of like like it's already almost set up. So if that did happen, it would just kind of just be a smooth transition. She might be invited to the wedding, your ex-wife, right? So that's good. I think you should look at it as serious. If your ex is dating someone or in a relationship or in a marriage, knowing who your child is around, you would think that the person may be smart enough to pick the right person. But there's many cases where stepdaddies or people around can neglect children.
Yeah, but what influence do I have, if I'm out of the house and I don't know how this dude is because my kid's not telling me and her mom's not telling me either.
So that's so yes, that makes sense. You don't know what's behind closed doors, but you can know by your daughter. You have to have that open line communication with her. She should be able to tell you what's going on regardless. So you got to make that let me see how I can tell you. So this situation was me back in the day, right? I was 14 when when my parents got a divorce, and there were certain things I didn't like in my dad's household when he got remarried. So, but me and my mother, we had a great dynamic, a great trust. Like I was able to tell her stuff. So I literally told her almost everything that went, at least with my issues, everything that went down. But that was just me. But that was the connection we had. So if you make it where she trusts you to tell you stuff without you telling her mother, you see what I'm saying? Because that's the thing. Whatever I told my mom, she didn't tell my dad. She figured out how to get an answer without letting him know that he knows she knows everything. So if you figure out how to do that, because I don't know them, just figure out how to do that because that's going to be important from now into the rest of her life, really. You want her to be able to tell you anything. So you could work on that type of trust with your daughter, and then you could figure it out from there. Yeah, I think that's important. But to move forward, that's amazing. I like that. So what grade is your daughter in? You said 15?
Yeah, she's a sophomore in these streets. Have herself a little boyfriend too.
Oh wow, yeah. That's around that age. They start feeling themselves when they get in that ninth grade, high school, the end of middle school. It's always like that. So that's cool. Are you ready for that? Oh goodness.
I actually was. So my daughter and I, we have a great relationship. She actually came on and did a chats with dads with me. It was one of my most watched chats with dads on my YouTube channel. And she wants to come back and we're going to have a follow-up here sometime soon. So I was the last to know that she was, dating. Her mom kind of gave me the heads up, but didn't fully tell me. But when my kid finally did tell me, I was happy about it. I know the kid, I know his family. I like them all. So it's one of those things that I'm like, all right, like I'm good with this, let me know if y'all want to get together. I'll take y'all out or anything like that. So
Wow, that's amazing. So yeah, you definitely gotta work on making sure she wanted. It's not that you're a terrible person. It's just that some kids, they're like, if I tell him, he's gonna, say something wrong, or I'm gonna get in trouble. Some kids just have that. But I know for me, what made me want to tell my parents. So I told my parents certain things. Like I told this parent that, and I told this parent this. So just taking her out all the time and kind of not being a friend, but kind of, don't get mad or don't tell her no so much at the time. You're like letting her be herself. She's gonna, voluntarily be like, oh, this is a safe space. And then she'll start telling you stuff more in that regard. It's just little tips and tricks for girls. Girls are a little special.
Yeah, I'm learning that. Like things are, and then also too. So kind of like I told you, I don't deal with emotions too well. So if my kid come to me with emotional stuff, I kind of, I'm like, okay, like I don't, because I want to. I'm a problem solver. So if I hear something, I'm thinking problem. All right, let's get to solving it. That's my immediate go-to. But I do sometimes have to take a step back and understand how she communicates and try to listen and then communicate in a way that I hope and think that she can hear the wisdom and stuff that I'm trying to impart. Because hey, look, Lady Di, I told her, I said, hey, look, I'm your parent. I'm not your friend. I've had this conversation with her.
Yeah.
I've told her, if you come at me with honesty and don't try to hide things, I'm likely going to feel some type of way, but I will never hold it against you, so to speak, for being honest with me, whether I like what went down or not. If you're honest with me, I'll help you out. If you want to go out here and be grown, thinking that you can make grown decisions and do things without the wisdom of me or your mom, then you're likely going to have to suffer some consequences that might be hard to come back from. I've been talking to my daughter like this since she was about 12 years old, because she is my only kid.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's my job to, along with her mom, to ensure that, she's ready for the world. But there's that boundary of, hey, she's still a kid and, have fun, but also be prepared for, hurt, because if you're living life, there's going to be hurt, and certain traumas and things like that. But to have her ready for the world. And if I'm being honest too, I feel like I'm missing some time because I don't have her. I don't see her every day.
Yeah.
So I do these conversations and these serious talks pretty often, but I try to balance, hey, let's be fun because I am the fun parent, but also imparting the things that I feel like she should know.
That's good. So you have a lot of good daddy, ways that you do things. And I'm pretty sure she appreciates you, because there's women out here that don't have their father and don't have the experience to have someone, lead them in a direction. Tips too could be, you could also teach your daughter in different ways. Like, let's say you guys are doing a sports activity, sports. I don't know. Have you played sports growing up or anything like that?
Yes. I want to toot my own horn, but my highlights are out here on these YouTube streets.
Okay. We would love to see it on the next live for sure. But you already know sports is a way that you could teach someone many different things through the discipline of it. So she could learn life lessons through that as well. Also, I heard you talk about the emotions of a lady. So she's a young lady. Now, women, I'm gonna get back to the relationship topic for a second. Women are emotional. So there's levels to emotional women. You have one that's to the extreme. You got the mid, and you got the, low level one where they're low temper. That's how you know if they're low level emotion. Are you going to be able to handle that in your new relationship? If she becomes very emotional and you're like, I don't know what to do. Like, are you going to be able to handle it?
I can with where I'm at now. How do I say this? As long as I'm aware of it from her. I think me 3 or 4 years ago, I'd say ain't no way possible. But with where I'm at now, yes.
Okay.
I have the capacity to do it if that is, how she came to me.
Oh, good. Because that's just a woman's nature. So I know a lot of you're not the only one. There's men that I ain't dealing with that. They don't know how to deal with it. They're like, what? They're freaking out.
They'd be like, hey, look. They'd be like, look, I'm out. and
I
run.
love your sounds. Yes, they are out. They are out. They're like, I'm not. So, but it's like men got to understand that's just how women are. Now, there's ways to help her. Like if she's like to the extreme, there's ways to help her tone down, but it's gonna be work, but always be understanding. Obviously, women are emotional. That's just the way it is. And that's just how it is for a lady. So I'm glad that you were able to open up on this conversation. What I didn't say earlier, you guys, the live that I do Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays is only going to be 1 hour. Okay. So we're reaching the hour mark. We're going to be ending at 7. Because, I do have 4 kids outside of this. So I got to make sure that we got things taken care of back here. You guys see me hustling out on these YouTube streets, but I got to tone it down now. But yes, so anything that you would like to ask me, I am a wife coach. My husband is a husband coach. So anything that you would like to ask moving forward that could help you throughout the week or the few weeks, with your new lady.
When it's new and it's early, sometimes you don't necessarily see the parts that you may not like from the other person, and people talk about red flags and things all the time.
Yeah.
What would you say to some people that have just kind of gotten together? I think that there was a question that asked how long we've been dating. It's been 3 or so months at this
point. New. I'm sorry. That's very new.
New.
Wow.
Like I'm not out here looking for red flags. Because I think that if you go looking for something, you'll find it. I'm also not going to ignore anything that I see, but I just ask you, what advice would you have for somebody that's in this new, that is dating somebody, and specifically for me, where, I'm not looking for the marriage thing. So what would you say to me knowing that?
Back to the topic, divorced and dating. See, it's hard out there for you guys because you're like, I've been there, done this. I ain't trying to do this shit again. Especially you talking about 14 years. I would never do another 14 for it to be destroyed. So I get it, especially if you have kids. So for that, think about, all right, this is homework for you, and I'll give you my answer personally. You have to know what you didn't like in the marriage previously, right? And then the person itself, so your ex, what was it that is not going to work in a marriage? No matter if you try to fix it or not, it ain't going to be fixed. What is it that, let's say, a character trait that she had that was a quote unquote red flag that will never work? So once you figure out what those 1 or 2 or 3 things are, you take those 3 things and you look at the person that you have and you're like, does she have these crazy ass qualities? Because that's not going to work. That would never work. It didn't work in our marriage. And no matter what I did, it wouldn't work. Certain things just is not going to change, and it's not going to be healthy is what I'm trying to say. So you do that. Now, me per se, as far as finding a good spouse, you have to make sure that this person understands what sacrifice means. Because in a relationship, nothing is going to be roses, meaning consistently. You're going to be going through things because in life, you're going to go through things. Even if you wasn't with her, you're going to go through things. So if you add her to it, you're going to go through things. Is she able to know what sacrifice is? And does she know how to sacrifice things in her personal space? You talk to her about her jobs, her family. Is there things that she was put in an uncomfortable situation? How does she handle it? Did she give up easily? See what I'm saying? Remember, you don't want to divorce again. So you got to understand, what is it that the qualities that she have? Is she running away from things? It don't matter what it is. If she's always running from something, because that's the part of sacrifice. Sacrifice, you do things that's uncomfortable. Can she be uncomfortable and be happy about it? All right. That's the number one thing. I'll just leave you with that.
Bet.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Hey, look, I didn't know really how this was going to go. I'm not going to say I was nervous about it, but I'm glad I did it. I told your husband, I said, man, like y'all haven't been married that long. I was kind of curious, what your channel is set up for, how you do. Hey, look, Hey, look, hey, keep it up. I think that what you're doing can definitely provide some value out here to people, especially in this subject. So thanks for having me. And if you have us on later, I'll definitely come back.
I will for sure. So I will definitely keep in touch with you guys, but definitely you guys subscribe to his channel, The Actual King Smith. It was lovely talking to him. I'm so glad he was very transparent because not only are we, you know, trying to help him understand things, we're trying to help people that are listening. You're not the only one that's going through this, you know. So, and for me, even though we weren't married, let's say as long, we hit 6 years. But we went through a lot before our marriage for sure. And that's what shaped us into having a healthy marriage. Our 3 years of being in a relationship, we lived with each other the full 3 years. We didn't say that. I don't know if he said that. So it was like a arranged marriage type of situation. Like I moved in this house, dated, relationship, just like that. So that was 3.5 years of craziness. We went through it all and fixed it, hopped into the marriage. Now we're able to implement the things that worked for us, that didn't work for us, and we're making sure that we don't cross those paths again.
That's what's up.
And then he's been married before too, so he has experience. I don't, but I did have a family from a divorce, so it's a lot of things that help us shape and to be able to do the space that we're in. So I'm so glad that you were able to come in and take my advice. I hope that it helps you, but we will have you back soon. Thank you so much for being here.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. All right, y'all, I'm approaching my hour. I'm going to stay focused on my hour. I'm not going to miss it. We have 58 minutes and 50 seconds, y'all. So I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm just going to read this for you, King Smith. Someone says, Mini Call You Chosen. What's up, girl? Be open, honest, so it won't bite you in the butt later. Never compromise non-negotiables. You'll regret it later and be resentful. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you. But until next time, you guys, see you later.